I can't say a whole lot about Marvel vs. Capcom, or most fighting games for that matter, in terms of gameplay. Look, I'll be the first to say it, I'm not very good at them. And that's why you'll notice in most of my gameplay footage that I'm getting my ass kicked. I can't say a whole lot about how they play relative to a good fighting game, because I have a tough time determining what is considered good. I can speak to how the gameplay feels to some extent. I know that combos feel good to execute, animations look great, and characters actually feel like they're doing damage. The thing I focus on more than anything is the narrative the game is trying to tell. And there's a story here to tell, but sadly, like most fighting games, the story plays second fiddle to the gameplay. I get it, it's a fighting game, the story doesn't matter, that's not what people are here to play. Then please explain to me why they put it in at all. And if it doesn't matter, then why does the Injustice franchise, the game's direct competitor, focus on it so heavily, even going as far to create an entire comic book franchise off of it? If you aren't going to attempt to do the best job possible, then don't bother putting it in at all. Really, don't even try. You're just wasting time at this point because you have some of the highest quality characters in your fighting game, most of them with deep personal backstories and ideologies, so much that you can craft just about any narrative you want to. There's a lot of similar characters that are mixed in together, ones who craft entire story arcs all on their own. And they dabble in this, yes, but they don't take it to the level that they should. We see Iron Man craft a new Infinity Blaster for Mega Man and interact with Dr. Light to some extent, but there isn't a lot of science talk, revelations, or intense moments with them. So how can we make their interactions be more important in the overall story? So here's a fun idea for the game. Have Dr. Light and Iron Man theorizing on how they utilize the power of the Infinity Stones. They discuss how they're going to wield the power and coming to the realization that the Infinity Gauntlet won't get the job done, and they decide they're going to need a weapon to take on Ultron Sigma. From here, they realize that the best option is to make a new blaster for X, since he, as a robot, can handle the power of the Infinity Stones, and he can convert that power into ammo for his energy blaster. Dr. Light sends Iron Man and X to retrieve the schematics for a prototype blaster from his lab, where they're going to run into Zero, who's been taken over by Ultron. And I'm saying taken over, like Ultron can upload a section of his consciousness into him. Once they free Zero from his capture, they can retrieve the schematic, and Zero can join the roster as someone who has a vendetta against Ultron, growing the character base. I like the idea of Rio and Hulk hanging out and doing research on the Convergence, running into characters like Black Panther and Monster Hunter, who we should have fought against and shouldn't be DLC. And it's great we get to see all the Demon-esque characters running around together trying to hunt down Jeddah. The entire section right there is exactly what we need throughout the whole game. Characters that are similar to one another hunting down a villain who's trying to accomplish a similar objective. But do it good. Stop doing these segments where we see Iron Man and Spencer hanging out and then fight robots for 30 seconds, because this causes the loading times to take up most of the story, and they're not fun whatsoever. The biggest drawback is that they keep every one of their character personalities at surface level. Yes, Iron Man is kind of a dick, and Chris Redfield steps up to be a leader in certain missions, but no one questions or talks about all the people they lost in the Convergence or has any big moments of personal sacrifice. I'm trying to think back through the 4 hours of story, and I'm not sure if anyone actually died. They did try the plot twist at the end with Dante giving Ultron the Soul Stone, which was a cool misdirect, and we need more situations like that. Not all of these characters would get along, not all of these characters would join forces, but let's experience that a little bit more instead of having Iron Man and Captain America do that Civil War fight scene one more time. Look, I appreciate the Easter egg, but it brings to light the little amount of actual character traits that any of them have. I think at this point you get the idea. Either craft a well-written and compelling story using the well-written and compelling characters you have, or just keep it as a basic fighting game where you pick a character and fight through their mini mission stories similar to what we see in Street Fighter. It will give the fans what they want to some extent, and you don't have to worry about elaborate cutscenes or interesting character dialogue. Just put Ryu on one side of the screen and Iron Man on the other and give them a few lines to say before making them fight. Then Ryu does the same thing with Dante, then Frank West, then the Hulk, and then we move on with our lives. If you can't make a great story mode, or you don't want to make a great story mode, then don't shoehorn it in to make fans happy, because you only disappointed them.